Hi friends, this is Selvijay here. Welcome to my networking channel. Hope all are doing good. And today the topic I am going to discuss about how we can configure port forwarding through ASDM. So ASDM is an adaptive security appliance device manager, which is a graphical representation for a Cisco ASA. So what is port forwarding? Whenever the users on an external network want to access the internal IP on a specific port, then we can use port forwarding. So let us take this example. So assume whenever the user want to access this particular IP 2.1 on port 80, the user will be redirected to this IP 1.2. So and also the user want to access this 2.1 on different ports, say 444, 443, automatically redirected to some other IP. So this is a way we can configure the port forwarding. Okay, and also port forwarding is useful when we have a single public IP and we have a multiple internal IP. So in this architecture, I am going to show you how we can configure the directly connected interfaces and the security zone. And also I'm going to create a port forwarding rule. So let us go one by one. So let us click the ASDM configuration. So this is an ASDM. So now let us configure the directly connected interfaces. So as per the architecture, so it has two interfaces. One is DM side and the outside. So I'm going to configure the interfaces and the security zone. Then let us create the port forwarding rule. And third thing, I'm going to configure the access list. So these are three things I'm going to configure from AC perspective. So let us click the ASDM and let us configure the interfaces. So the DMZ interface is 0 by 0. So let us name the interface as DMZ and the security level is I'm going to assign it as 50 and is already enabled. So we have to enable this interface and the IP is again 1.1, right? So 192.168.1.1 and the mask is 24-bit mask. Click OK. Just click OK. And the second interface is an outside interface. So let us name the interface name as outside. Okay. And the security level is 0 and the IP is 192.168.2.1. That is IP. 2.1 is IP and just the mask is 24-bit mask and click OK. OK. Just apply the configuration. Okay, so now you can view the running configuration via CLI. So for confirmation, so what are things we have done? 0 by 0 is a DMZ zone, IP is 1.1 and the security level is 50 and the outside interface is 2.1 and the security level is 0. And always traffic flows from the higher to the lower security zone. So now the second thing, I am going to configure a port forwarding rule. So configuring port forwarding rule through ASDM is pretty simple. Just click the firewall and go to objects and click the network objects. Okay, now you add a network object. Just click add and add a network object, and now let us name it as web server. This is for I'm just doing for an internal IP, right? Web server, and this IP is 1.2. So the IP will be 192.168.1.2 and now let us create the port forwarding rule. So it is similar to static NAT. So I'm just adding a static translation rule. So enable this add automatic static translation rule and the translator address will be outside. Okay, just click outside network and just click OK. Now we have to click the advanced tab. So you have to set the interface. Source is DM set interface, right? Source is DM set and the destination interface outside. And then we have to give the port detail. So since it is when the users on the external network want to access the internal network on a specific port, so we have to add the real and the mapped port. So let us add the real and the mapped port as 80. Okay, just click OK. Okay, so we have created the port forwarding rule also. The third thing, since the users on the external world want to access the internal network on the port 80, so I have to create a access list. Okay, so I have to allow the access list for allowing from the lower to the higher security zone. So let us click the access rules. Okay, now let us add a rule. So it is from an outside, okay, to an outside network. Action is permit, shows can be any, and destination let us make it as 192.168.1.2. That is the internal network, and the service should be HTTP service. That is port 80, right? And click OK. Just apply the configuration. So now let us view the NAT statement. Okay. So let us view the NAT statement. Okay. Go to AC firewall. So what are things we have done is we have created the NAT rule and also the access list. Show NAT detail. So this is the thing we have created. The origin is 1.2 and the translated thing is 2.1. So we have created a static interface, so automatically take this IP. Okay. So I not specifically given any IP. That's the reason automatically took the outside IP as 2.1 translated IP, and the protocol is TCP, and the real and the mapped port is web port, that is port 80. Okay. So now let us check the access list. So we also created the access list allowing from an outside, okay, from the outside to the internal host, that is 1.2 on port 80. So that's the port, equivalent port is 80. So these are things we have done. So now let us initiate a traffic from an external network to the inside world. So this interface I already configure on both web server and the Cisco switch 2. So let us view the configuration. Go to Cisco 1, enable show running configuration interface gigabit 0 by 0. So this IP will be 1.2 and the gateway will be 1.1. Similar way for Cisco 2, the IP will be 2.2 and the gateway will be 2.1. That's the thing I configure. Now let us initiate a traffic on port 80. So from here I'm going to telnet to 1.2 on port 80. Okay. So telnet 192.168.1.2 port 80. So now let us check the access list counts. Okay, go to ASA firewall and just click show access list. So you can see the head count is increasing, and also you can see the show xlate NAT detail also. Show xlate detail. So it will show the translation route. Traffic TCP from DMZ to this particular outside on port 80. So this is how we can configure the port forwarding rule in a Cisco ASI firewall through ASDM, right? So what are things we have done is we have configured the DM set interfaces and the outside security zone. Then we have created the port forwarding rule. Then the third thing, I have allowed the access list for allowing the traffic from an lower to the higher security zone on specific port 80. So this is how it works. So I hope you enjoy this video. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe for more videos. Thanks and have a wonderful day. Thank you.